Hello everyone, this is City Scrapper. Thanks so much for joining me on my channel today. Today I have another layout that I made using the June My Creative Scrapbook limited edition kit. The kit this month features the beautiful collection from Prima called Magic Love, and that was designed by Frank Garcia. I started out my layout by cutting a number of circles. I'm using these Creative Memories circle cutters, and I find these are great for cutting out different size circles. So I cut my photo into a circle. I cut another circle that was a little bit larger to be a mat for behind my photo, and then I cut an even larger circle out of pattern paper. So I'm mounting my photo down to the mat. I cut out some fun foam to pop up the photo. And now I'm using a dauber and I'm inking the edges of the mat that goes around the photo and also this large circle. And that was cut out of one of the pattern papers from the kit. And the Distress Oxide color that I used was weathered wood to ink the edges. I often pop up my photos using fun foam, but for this particular layout, I did it with a particular purpose in mind. I wanted to have a place to rest these pearls, so I felt that I could glue them down to the pink circle and rest the edge against the popped up photo and photo mat. So I used a little gel glue and those pearls were easily attached down. Once I placed the photo on the piece of pattern paper I was going to use for the background, though, I decided that I didn't want the mat right underneath the photo to be white. I decided to change it to a gold color. So here I'm carefully removing the photo, and you can see that I'm letting the photo sit flat on the table and then tearing the paper off the back rather than trying to tear the photo off of the paper, which I think would be more likely to bend the photo. Now I'm just reassembling everything. I have that gold paper right behind the photo. And now I'm going to start working on the doily. I wanted the doily to be approximately the color of the card that's right on top of where I'm working there. It's the one that has those pink hearts. The blue color that's in the background, that's what I was shooting for. And I don't get it exactly right, but I think I get pretty close by mixing together these Distress Oxides in peacock feathers and cracked pistachio. And I was noticing as I was doing this, I really like the pattern that inking the doily makes on the paper behind it. So I'll have to try that one time because it looks really pretty on that white piece of paper. So I continue to add a little bit of color, and I'm just getting it on the edges because I know that the center part will be covered up by the photo. So I'm pretty happy with the result there, so I decided that I would attach the photo down. And now I'm going to put some pearls going around the doily. And so I use some different sizes of gold pearls. I alternate a larger one and a smaller one. So I was happy that I had enough pearls to complete the pattern. And then once I finish the doily, I add some borders to either side of the photo. I use a Martha Stewart border punch and some of the same pink paper that I put behind the photo, and I punched out 2 strips and I layered one on each side right over that gold border that's already there. And I'm using my T-square to make sure that everything is straight. And now I'm going to be embellishing the layout. You can see that nice big pile of embellishments that I'm going to begin to place on the layout. There are some die cut pieces, there are some dimensional flowers, there are some fussy cut pieces, and also some chipboard. And you can see there that I am kind of making a triangle out of the embellishments coming out of each side of the photo. The piece of chipboard that says love right under the photo, that is going to serve as my title. I love the gold foiling on this page, and I also love the images that are on the top and the bottom. I especially love the bottom with the lamb and the 2 chicks and that beautiful basket of flowers. And I do add a number of embellishments to the background, but I am very careful not to cover up either of the images on the top or the bottom. So I'm using a lot of those Prima dimensional flowers on this layout. I particularly love the ones on this layout that have that iridescent sheen to them. I think that those are particularly pretty. So I include quite a number of those. And then under my photo, I put a little phrase that is from the chipboard pack that says, "Fill my heart with hugs." I have a little chipboard heart off to the right, and then I have some fussy cut flowers off to the left. And now I'm attaching down my photo to a piece of cardstock, and what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be building those layers on top of the cardstock. And it would have made sense to build my clusters on top of this piece of cardstock from the beginning, but I didn't think to do that, and I did use, for the most part, the same arrangement when I placed everything on this piece of cardstock as I did when I had it right on the pattern paper. And the reason for this cardstock is so that I can move the whole cluster around and reposition it on the background wherever I want. So here now I'm just reassembling everything, but now I'm attaching it down using some ATG adhesive. And that's just a temporary adhesive for the flowers especially. I will have to go back in with some either wet glue or some heavy-duty gel medium and attach everything permanently. The ATG adhesive is great for paper, but for these thicker, more dimensional items, I feel that wet glue or gel medium are best for holding them down permanently. I took that little chipboard, I think it's a cherub, and I tucked her right into the flowers, and I really like the way that little cherub looks, kind of nestled in there among all of those dimensional flowers. And on the opposite side, there's a chipboard envelope that's in about the same spot as the cherub on the left, and there are also some other chipboard pieces, some flowers, and some little chicks that are sitting on top. I love those bows that are kind of cascading down, so I tucked one of them underneath the flower that's on the left, and then to balance it out, I tucked some die-cut flowers over to the right. Now I'm going to be working on the title. I had to remove that large pearl that was right behind the title because it just was a big bump there that I couldn't rest the title on. And then I realized I had to move one more pearl away so that I could rest that chipboard heart that's off to the right of the title, right next to it. I am adding these little circles. I really like them. They look like they're buttons, but they almost look like little bubbles kind of floating around. I really like those chipboard pieces. So I included 2 on the bottom and 1 on the top. And as I continue to arrange all of the embellishments, I can figure out where I won't need any white paper, so I'm cutting away the excess. And then I do the same thing on the other side. I just trim away the pieces that I won't be needing. Here you could see that I removed those gold pearls from the doily. It was a very delicate process because, of course, doilies are not super sturdy, so I was being very slow and careful to remove them. And I had just decided that they looked a little bit too dark and I wanted to go with something a little more subtle, so I added some very light pink, smaller pearls. So now I'm taking some die-cut florals. I think it's like a floral slash flourish because it seems to have elements of both. And I'm putting some copper embossing powder on the background, and then I'm embossing, heat embossing the copper all over. And once I'm done doing that, I take the dauber again and I just tap the dauber in a few little areas. I don't cover the whole thing. And then I am going to add some gold embossing powder over the top, and then I'm going to heat emboss that. And having the 2 different metallic colors isn't super noticeable, but I just think that it adds a nice little touch to these die cuts. And on this particular die cut, I end up going in and touching up the top a little bit. I wanted to add just a little bit more color to the top. And I make several of these, I would say about 8 of them, and I'm going to start arranging them on my layout. But before I do that, I'm going to add some ribbon to the background. I looked through my stash and I found this very light yellow ribbon, and it was a nice thickness, and I thought that this would add a little bit more yellow to the background, and it would also kind of finish off that edge of the punched out border. So I add the yellow ribbon on both sides, and I'm just making sure that it's perfectly straight using my T-square. And once I'm happy with where it is, I press down with my finger, and then I turn the layout over and I attach down the edges on the other side, again using the ATG adhesive. Now I'm going to be attaching down the large central cluster. I'm tearing off some of the backings of the chipboard so that those will stick as well. And you can see that I just put the backing off to the side, and now I'm going to place it exactly where I want it. I took off one of the pieces of chipboard and I'm going to attach that down right here. Just want to make sure I put enough adhesive on that one. And then I'm putting back on a number of the pieces of chipboard and the die cuts, and again adding some extra adhesive to make sure that those will stay put. Now I'm going in with those die cuts that I had just heat embossed, and I'm going to be arranging those around the large cluster. And I'm just tucking them into places and trying them out. And that's one thing with scrapbooking. I feel like you have to just try things out. You really can't tell what something's going to look like until you put it down on the page and give it a try. And I didn't end up doing any mixed media in the background, so it might not have been totally necessary to attach everything down to a piece of paper and then attach that piece of paper down to the background. But that always allows me to have that option to add mixed media or to center the cluster. It just makes me feel a little bit more secure knowing that I always have the option to move the cluster around. Now I'm adding some pearls to the background. I already have all the pearls that are going around the photo, that strand of pearls, and then I also have those pink pearls that are on the doily, so I don't add too many small pearls. I just add several large pearls and a few medium pearls. And once I have them arranged where I want them, I'm using some Elmer's gel glue to hold each of the pearls in place. And this is the last touch that I add to the layout. Here come some close-ups. Thank you so much for watching, everybody. I hope if you like this video, you'll give it a thumbs up. It really helps out my channel. Please take a look in the description box. You will find a link to the My Creative Scrapbook website, and you can take a look at all the beautiful kits that they have available this month. I hope that you got some ideas for your own scrapbooking. I hope that everybody has a fantastic day, and I will see all of you again soon. Take care, everybody. Bye-bye.